The latest developments in Ukraine now. There's no sign of a let-up in the brutal street-by-street battle for the city of Severodonetsk. Ukraine says it's still holding on to about a third of the city, and regional officials are denying Russia's claim that its offensive has succeeded. And in Russia, President Putin is doing some chest pumping over his invasion of Ukraine. On Thursday, he compared himself to Peter the Great, a Russian emperor who defeated Sweden in the 18th century. Putin said he's only fighting for the land that belongs to Russia, just like the famous Tsar did. CNN's Salma Abdelaziz is keeping an eye on all the developments in Ukraine, and she joins us now live from Kyiv. So Salma, Putin basically admitting his war is just a land grab after all.
Absolutely, and it really shows the very imperial intentions, the disregard for modern rules of sovereignty and nationhood. He simply dismisses Ukraine as a nation state, essentially saying that these are Russian territories, justifying this truly horrific and bloody war. And that war right now is focused in one flashpoint. You mentioned it, Severodonetsk, one of the last strongholds for Ukrainian forces in the region of Luhansk. The situation on the ground is changing hour by hour. President Zelensky says Ukrainian forces are having to fight over every single inch, and that battle is not going the way of Ukrainian forces. They are outmanned, they are outgunned. This is an artillery war, Kim, and Ukrainian forces are running out of artillery. Their only saving grace at this point, if you're reading the battleground, is that Western weapons might come in time. But again, if Russian artillery, if Russian forces are able to gain meter by meter ground before those weapons arrive, it's hard to imagine how much longer Ukrainian forces can hold out. And already beyond the east, in the south, where Russia, of course, has made major gains in the last few weeks since the start of this conflict, they are solidifying those gains. We want to show you that larger map where you can see that Russia has taken that sweep along the Black Sea, along the Sea of Azov. Those are key and important ports, and there's a major consequence to this here, a domino effect, Kim, and that is grain. Ukraine is the breadbasket of the world, and currently there is 20 million tons of grain stuck in this country. It cannot be exported. The international community is ringing the alarm. They say this could trigger a crisis of hunger. Millions could be left starving, deprived of their basic needs. This could trigger larger conflicts in the Middle East and Africa if this grain is unable to get out of Ukraine, if there is no way found to export it. There was talks in Ankara this week to try to find a diplomatic solution. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov speaking to his counterparts. Still, it is an impasse. There is no solution there yet. And again, it is because Russia controls that area along the Black Sea. Yes, Ukraine has the port of Odessa. That's the key port for exporting this grain, but Russian forces, they say, are preventing them from being able to put that grain on ships, send it out. This is a truly concerning chapter in the war, and one that so far has no diplomatic solution, Kim.
Is Ukraine Europe's breadbasket no more? Experts warn of an imminent food crisis due to the current conflict. Ukraine is one of the world's leading exporters of grain, and many countries depend on it.
Russia's invasion of Ukraine also stoking fears of a drastic increase in food costs. The two countries are key suppliers of grains and edible oils, and the crisis has already driven wheat prices to their highest in 10 years.
Wall Street to Main Street, the invasion is hitting home in the form of higher prices. As Julie McDonald shows us, we will be paying more for a lot of things.
Here at the Agro Complex, a 2-hour drive from Kiev, about 18,000 tons of corn, wheat, rye, soya, barley, and sunflower are produced every year.
Ukraine is called the breadbasket of Europe for good reason. It has the most arable land area in Europe and is able to feed 600 million people. It ranks in the top 5 of both the production and export of barley, corn, potato, rye, and wheat. Ukraine supplies the world with 18% of its edible oil, 12% of its barley, and 13% of its corn.
Combined, Ukraine and Russia supply 30% of global wheat production. So they are very large players. So with the sanctions that have just been recently announced, there will be a scramble for alternative supplies, particularly in markets near to Russia and Ukraine. So the European market will be very anxious about this.
Other than the EU, analysts are warning that countries in Asia and Africa will also be hard hit. Global food prices have already peaked since 2011. Thanks to volatile climate conditions and COVID-19. And with 855 million people short on food, the conflict comes at a challenging time. Some 14 countries that already suffer from food insecurity, including war-torn Yemen and Libya, rely on Ukrainian food exports. The Food and Agriculture Organization says that in 2020, Yemen and Libya imported 22 and 43% of their total wheat from Ukraine. In the same year, the country also provided about half of all wheat in Lebanon. Egypt, the largest consumer of Ukrainian wheat, imported more than 3 million metric tons of the grain, while Ukraine also supplied around a quarter of the wheat in Malaysia, Indonesia, and Bangladesh. A third of agricultural output harvested from Ukraine's east is now under threat, and the effects are already felt on the global market.
The Ukraine is a huge exporter of wheat and corn, as well as sunflower oil, along with Russia. And the expectation is that those Ukrainian crops won't get planted this year and that the Russian crops will be embargoed. And so a lot of parts of the world will be in need of imports. And so there'll be a mad scramble for, the excess, including our excess. So there may be more exports from the U.S., which will drive up domestic price. We are already starting from a position of very high prices. We all know that from the grocery store. And so experts that I spoke with said expect some of these hikes pretty much instantly because of the interconnectedness of some of these markets.
Ukraine's status as a breadbasket is in jeopardy. Losing Ukrainian produce in the global supply chain will likely change the dynamics of the food industry, and worse still, a lengthy conflict could even lead to mass hunger and a humanitarian disaster.
Alright, Shalom. I want to start out by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kwadash. Double honors to my elders and apostles at Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect, the ones out there doing this work diligently and chiefly keeping the faith, making your calling and your election sure. We're going to get right into it. I got this precept pulled up over in 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 49. It says, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses and to waste thy houses with destruction and death. All right. So the Lord is coming back to actually send famine and plagues upon this place, man. To actually to ridicule his judgment upon the face of the earth. Okay? That's what he's coming to do. And for all those who do not trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai or follow him, you all will do what? You all will pay, man, with your blood. But the famine is coming. Pestilence is coming. Destruction is coming. And the only way to be saved out of it It's to trust in the Lord, man. It's to be part of the elect, you know, first off and foremost. Now, this is not going to be no long lesson, no drawn out lesson, but as you can see in the videos, the Lord is the one that's sending this famine. The Lord is the one who's disrupting the Europe's bread basket. Okay? It's the Lord who's doing this, man. Okay? Not nobody else. Hey, the scriptures tells us that it's the Lord that kills and makes alive. It's the Lord that wounds and it's the Lord that heals. Everything comes from him. Putin is being led by the Lord, man. Okay? Hey, Proverbs 21:1 tells you that. You know? What it says, roughly paraphrasing, the king's heart is in the hands of the Lord. As the rivers, he turneth it how he please, you know? Roughly paraphrasing. So at the end of the day, Putin is doing what the Lord told him to do. And it's prophesied that he was going to do it over in Ezekiel chapter 38, man. Okay? So the Lord is sending famine, destruction, and death upon the houses of the people of the earth. Because why? He has a controversy with this earth, man. You can read about that in Hosea chapter 4, verse 1. One of my favorite precepts I like to bring out, you know. You can read about that, man. The Lord has a controversy with the inhabitants of the earth, man. Roughly paraphrasing, you know. So, hey, at the end of the day, this famine, this poverty, the sword, the pestilence, it all comes from the Lord, man. And it's all judgment. So hopefully this was edifying. I'm going to end it by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah, Quadash. All right. Shalom, Yasharallah. Keep going. Keep enduring. Shalom.